Your host, Lo, and this is Mic Drop Sun Drip, the show where we drop truth and speak light into you. This is the show for those ready to awaken to their full power, live from love, bask in golden divine light, embody abundance and divine wealth. Drop into your heart and feel it all in your body. You can watch on YouTube or listen on all podcast platforms. Here we go. Oh, and one more thing. You have a spark of the divine in you. Act accordingly. Hello, hello. Welcome to Mic Drop Sun Drip, the show where we drop truth and speak light into you. I am Lo, your host, and I am honored to be here with you, truly. Here we are for another episode, and today is on one of my favorite topics that we're going to be channeling a bit on, which is both and. So we are moving away from either or, the either or paradigm, the either or way of thinking, into the both and way of thinking paradigm. And the most important takeaway from choosing to embody both and is you will be free. Once you hold truth, you break free. It's that simple. We know that here, one of our core values and pillars is truth. So know that as you receive more truth, speak your truth, live your truth, face your inner truth, and emanate that out in the world, you will be free. You will feel free. You will have broken free from the cage that you found yourself in. You are no longer trapped. But when we take it a step further than that, so it starts there, and we honor that it starts there. But when we take it to the next step, this becomes the both and paradigm, where we find ourselves stepping into our next level of getting even more curious about the truth of our world, the truth of the cosmos, the truth of our soul in this experience here, and the truth of everything around us. And the possibilities truly are endless. And you learn that many truths are true at the same time. That everything in some way, shape, or form is true, depending on how we're looking at it, and through the lens at which we're looking at it through, and depending on who's looking at it, from what perspective. One of the most unfortunate, painful paradigms and truths that are in our culture now is most of the thinking keeps people out of honoring that many things are true at the same time, that many things can be true at the same time. And you might ask yourself, well, why is that important? It's because it will allow you to hold the nuance of life. It will allow you to hold the complexity that is around you and that is in every relationship you have. Most of the misunderstandings between two humans or two or more humans in community or wherever is they're not able to tune in to the nuance and complexity of why people do the things they do, why people say the things they say, why people act one way and say another, why people say one thing and act a different way. One of the most powerful languages to learn is astrology. And it's one of the examples I want to give here and now. Once I learned astrology and looked at my own birth chart, I realized how complex I am in this body, in this lifetime, chosen by my soul. And then all of a sudden, I was able to hold so much compassion for how complex every human around me is. Every human on the world stage, every human in the world. Because if I'm that complex, that means everyone is. Sometimes we don't have the perfect answer of why we do what we do, why we say what we say, why we don't say what we don't say, why we don't do what we don't do. And therein lies the both and. You can be in love with someone and be deathly afraid to tell them. Both and. You can be highly creative and have a very intellectual, math-focused mind. Both and. You can be both conservative and liberal. Both and. Nuance is the mastery of this plane. because the opposite agenda is to divide everybody into two sides. And how convenient for the forces of the dark. How convenient for them. Because if we're only presented two options, two truths, or even more dangerous, one truth, one false, we're forced to pick a side. And all of a sudden we end up on a side and we're like, how the hell did I get here? I didn't really choose this with my free will. You were programmed to choose it. Okay. So both and is quite literally a life-saving paradigm to walk through and embody and choose. I'm going to write a book on this and how to really live this, because it's a very simple yet complex topic, because it's so opposite of what we live. We live in a world where truth is compromised and where everything is a matter of opinion, and where people are not holding the nuance and complexity that is inside everything, because there's great mystery to everything, right? In indigenous cultures around the world, they call God great mystery. This is classic in Native American culture, in America in particular. Why do they do that? Because it's all mystery. There's a lot of mystery here. The psychics know it. The channels know it. The scientists know it. And a lot of our pain on this planet is we're trying to figure it all out. Some things will never be figured out. Okay? The brain cannot be fully mapped because of one simple reason. Our brain is connected to the infinite consciousness across the entire cosmos. And a scientist in a lab nowhere can map that. Everybody get it? So when we understand truth, when we are seeking truth, when we live from truth, we inevitably find ourselves in the both and paradigm. We inevitably want to go there. We inevitably start to, lift the curtain up and say, hey, I was told that was the ultimate truth, but actually there's some nuance in that. You'll notice in conversations with the people in your life, you will move very differently. You will live much more open-hearted. You will be more compassionate towards people and towards the complex issues we face in our world. How did we get here? Right? A lot of the issues we face in our world have to do with truth being compromised throughout the ages. And now we're living in the biggest mess of all, where just so many lies have compounded on top of each other, where all the truths are rising at once. And it feels like the world is falling apart, because it kind of is, because all the truths are rising rapidly, almost all at once. And so a lot of people struggle to hold that. A lot of people struggle to accept that. Our nervous system, frankly, is not really set up to hold all that, which is why we're living in a very revolutionary time where we're more connected to the entirety of the globe more than ever. No one ever knew what was going on in Syria if they lived in Japan. Now you could be in Japan and know exactly what's going on in Syria. And that may or may not be relevant for you. That may actually be the thing that keeps you from living your purpose. I don't know why that came through, but it did. We take in a lot. And part of the current time with all the technology and the content and the access to information is actually part of an agenda to keep us numb, distracted, and dumb. Because if we are operating from those frequencies, we're pulled deeper into fear, deeper into the illusion of separation, and deeper into scarcity, deeper into lack. And then all of a sudden we can't hold the nuance of both and. All of a sudden we put ourselves on an island and we shut everyone out and everything out, and we go into survival mode. So holding multiple truths at the same time allows us to break free from who we thought we are and what we thought the world was. We know, people are studying and continue to study how our thoughts create our reality. And, obviously not every thought you think is creating your physical reality in direct proportion, because otherwise our life would be chaotic. There is nuance to that. Most of how our life is created by what we speak. That's what I teach. So your throat is, next to your heart, the second most powerful part of your body, because we do speak everything into existence, whether we want it or not. We're speaking spells into existence all the time. I had a mentor say to me, stop saying things out loud you don't mean. And I was like, oh shit. Because, when our emotions are at an all-time high, we do speak things out loud that we don't mean. And that has, there's consequences from that. We can override it. We can shift that spell we spoke. We can shift what we just spoke out loud, but we must do it quickly. And over time, we become more and more aware of what we're speaking into existence, right? One of the most important tenets or pillars of speaking into existence, the most epic life you ever hope to live in this lifetime, is to embody both and. Because there are people right now that would say, ooh, it's 444 on the little timer up there. Thanks, angels. Stay with us. We need your protection. But there are people right now that would say that this show that we've launched right now is going to take years to build. I say different. This show is likely going to blow up because it's serving the highest purpose of truth and light. And those forces are way more powerful than any of the ego and than any of fame. And my prayer, what I'm speaking into existence, is that Mic Drop Sun Drip goes viral, dare I say, so that it can reach more and more people, because we're speaking pure truth and light here. And most of what you see out in the world is just missing that purity of intention. I have no interest in being famous. None. If I'm well known for the wisdom my soul holds and the channel the divine has asked me to be for its truth to help more of my fellow humans that are souls and bodies, I will dissolve out of this body happily at the end. But I have no desire to be famous. I could be famous right now saying things that are nothing compared to what I'm saying right now, right? And a lot of these truths that are being touted as truth, that are untruths, I should say, are playing in the old agenda to get things like fame or material riches, right? Embodying both and allows you to understand that in order for me to live out my mission, I have to create a big show like this where more and more people receive these messages. I'm trying to offer a new way for you to live and move through Earth very differently, from a space of peace, from a space of love, from a space of light, from being able to access joy regularly, regularly. So the mission is very clear. And I am not here to play small, and I am not here to have a space that stays hidden in some spiritual community. No. Me and hundreds of thousands of other people on earth are here to spread truth, speak truth, live truth, be of the light, be of love, and it's going to take a huge tribe to make an impact on our culture and the ways of being here. So tune in right now into every area of your life and say, where am I thinking small and why? Where am I playing small and why? And the answer often comes back to, what truths am I not willing to face? And where am I stuck in either or thinking? Because many things can be true at the same time, and many things can happen at the same time. I encourage you to take this into your life as you approach situations, as you approach your relationships, your business, your career, your health, your body, and really ask yourself, how can holding multiple truths at the same time serve me, serve others around me, and serve my intentions and goals for this life? Either or will always keep you feeling stuck and trapped. Both and frees you to create. Thank you so much for listening to Mic Drop Sun Drip. Join the community at houseoflow.co/micdropsundrip. And remember, without truth, there can be no light. And without light, there can be no power.